It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Crowd is set again. Oh, John, boom. Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Gets Benny in the corner.
To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win. The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker. Kenny Walker. Touchdown. Smarty.
Goff's got it. Back. Looks. Throws. Ends up. Yes. Caught. Touchdown. Detroit Lions. They did it. Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end.
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here.
A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Good Wednesday morning to you. It is Hump Day, the 3rd day of May 2023. We welcome you here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Danny Cahalan, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio as well. From Traverse City down to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City, we say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you. Join the program at any time. You can text the keyword sports radio. Send that to 21,000 sports radio to 21000. Our Myers Supercenter guest line, 248-951-2176, 248-951-2176. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros. And, of course, good morning to our television audience as well, on both BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports Network. Add a .com to that to find our website. And, of course, you can find us all individually on Twitter. Danny Cahalan is at Dan in the studio. Ryan Elke is at RyanL_Key. And I'm Anthony Bellino at AC Bellino. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you. Happy Wednesday. What's going on over there? How's life? How are things?
I'm just I fell asleep watching the hockey game, and I'm checking out these final stats from the Lakers-Warriors. Holy.
Oh, my God.
Those are some numbers he's got. How many missed shots were there with all these rebounds?
Bro, the opening, it was the opening 9 points of the game, maybe 11 points of the game, was that very same thing as what happened in the Sacramento series, where it was like hair on fire, everybody running full speed up and down the court just to miss a shot, to go back the other way. It was like watching a tennis match. Your head was like this, just back and forth, back and forth. I mean, full speed ahead. The fact that the Lakers pulled that out is just disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna come clean. I gotta come clean to the audience. I am rooting hard for Steph Curry and the Warriors to win this series, and that one hurt last night. That one hurt. Game 1 at home.
Knowing how bad this team is on the road,
Ugh. You know, that doesn't even bother me. I just don't think the Lakers are really that good. I really don't.
no, and everyone's having to take a hard turn after we all became LeBron fans in the first round because Dylan Brooks couldn't keep his mouth shut.
Yeah, I can't do this. I got to
Under
stay
any
true to one team.
circumstances, he just couldn't keep his mouth shut.
Well, you know, a while back, Draymond Green on his podcast said some things about Dylan Brooks. And as of yesterday, all those things came true. I mean, everything that he said was true in the podcast. I retweeted it. I'm gonna play it here today because it's sensational. I mean, just puts Dylan Brooks in a body bag. It's like, oh my God, just you talk about talking smack. That's it. That's how you do it right there. That's how you flex on him, Draymond. And one of the key lines in it is the Memphis Dynasty will start after you, not because of you. And I was like,
I don't know if I've ever seen a game, let alone a playoff game, where half the team's shots were threes. 53 threes they took?
53.
That is bonkers. It reminds me of
everywhere.
Years ago, a Warriors-LeBron final, and this is where I started to sour on the NBA because it seemed like 15 straight possessions of missed shots. Because both teams, seems like when LeBron plays Steph and the Warriors, that him and his teams try to play like them a little bit, and will start jacking up threes to match, and it becomes a very ugly basketball game very quickly.
Yeah, there's last night had a ton of threes, a ton of transition, a ton of threes out of transition, which, I'm not talking about Chauncey Billups. Like, you just found the right time, the right place. You're in the right spot to shoot it. I'm talking about sprinting full speed and pulling up and jacking it. There is a part of that I would say that I very much agree with you, Ryan, that it does make it difficult, because that's why, like, when you watch Jimmy Butler, and he was unavailable for game 2 last night between the Knicks and the Miami Heat, Julius Randle returns from his ankle, and Jimmy Butler's out with his ankle, so just like ankle swap there. But, Jimmy Butler's ability to still continue to stay true to his game, and what I feel is, like, stay true to basketball. Like, basketball is not standing out there at the three-point line and waiting for a catch-and-shoot opportunity. Like, that's not really – you're not really –
DeMar DeRozan's the same way.
It bothers me. Bothers me. Like, you have to have some mid-range. You have to have some versatility. I like to see a couple passes. I like to see the ball move. I'd like to see somebody actually run something. So that part I do get, because it does get a little bit of like, oh, man, what are you gonna do? Shoot a three?
And Jordan Poole, it's like the meme. It's like, it's Jordan Poole time. Quote by Jordan Poole.
I mean, he was open.
Right. No, like, I'm not hating on Jordan, because, like, you don't get the 40-point games without this type of stuff.
Yeah, it's exactly what we talked about yesterday.
Because,
right?
like, we he's been a fun target for Warriors haters to point at, but it's like, do we not remember the beginning of last postseason when Steph was out and he was averaging like 35 points a game? Because I think that's kind of
nice contract.
Right. I think that's kind of forgotten about when we're seeing these other games of, like, he kind of helped them win a championship last year. He was that guy. You're that guy. You are that guy, pal. What else is going on in the sports world? We're trying to get you all caught up with all the happenings across the world of sports. We'll do so real quick right now in the headlines.
Big news.
I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
No, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories of the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
All right, huge news. 2 games of the NBA playoffs last night. Lakers 117-112 winners over the Warriors. They take a 1-0 series lead with that victory on the road. Before that, the Knicks defended home court last night. They won 111-105, tied their series up at 1-1 against the Miami Heat. Julius Randle was back. Jimmy Butler was out. Ex-Raiders wide receiver Henry Ruggs III is going to plead guilty in the fatal DUI case. So we'll have to see, what that looks like. According to a plea
3 to
agreement,
10 years.
3 to 10 years. Oh my goodness! The case now moves to the 8th Judicial District Court for a hearing on May 10th.
Why does our court system take? Like, I'm sorry, this was 2 years ago.
Is that how long it's been?
I mean, I think.
Or would this be the second season he'd be missing?
I mean, either way, it's like the dude killed somebody. Like, can we just get the trial going?
Is there even going to be a trial?
I know, well, there's not now,
right,
but I'm saying, like,
guilty.
why did it take this long for this to happen?
I don't know. I don't know what takes them so long. Like,
because they have other people to put away, and it turns into liar, liar, where you just need Jim Carrey to pick up the phone to everyone on Earth. Stop breaking the law.
It's one of my favorite lines. Packers have reached a 1-year extension with quarterback Jordan Love. This is a really strange deal. It did not come up via his 5th-year option on his rookie deal, which would have paid him a guaranteed $20 million after making $2.9 million in 2023, his first season as a starter. Instead, they went with a 1-year contract extension worth up to $22.5 with $13.5 fully guaranteed.
Did you hear about Jeff Okudah's contract?
No.
So because the Lions were picking up some of the salary this year, that made him ineligible for his 5th-year option.
Oh, better have a big year.
Yeah, so Atlanta didn't have to make that decision and is just paying him his regular base salary, minus the Lions are paying like $1.5 million.
Speaking of fifth-year options, how about the Cardinals declining to pick up the fifth-year option on Isaiah Simmons? Remember that name? Little linebacker that got a Clemson that we were kind of googly-eyed about during the draft. And Super Bowl, what was that, 57 was the most-watched telecast ever, according to updated data. We'll step aside when we return. The Detroit Tigers, we'll get on the prowl with them next here. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
For a lot of us, music and mental health are intertwined. That's why the Collaborative Lab created In Tune, a free live stream event, and you're invited. May 18th is Mental Health Action Day, so take action for your own mental health by joining us from 7 to 9 p.m. Musical performances and conversations with the Verve Pipe, Br0's, Carlos Sese, Cole Hansen, and more. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org to learn how you can join the party for free.
Godsmack, live and in your face. Friday, May 26th at Soaring Eagle Casino, plus Bad Wolves. And same show, same night, Bullet for My Valentine. Tickets start at $28, on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office or etix.com. Party hard, rock harder. Godsmack, May 26th, part of the Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Danny Kalen, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us. Dan thinks all Italians are plumbers all of a sudden. They watch a little too much Mario. Pretty good. Good, Dan. I got a good laugh out of that. Did when Ryan was trying to unclog the sink, was he like jumping up and down trying to get the coins?
No, but luckily he did save the sink because we were in dire straits there for a couple days.
Well, that's not good. I'm glad that Ryan can add plumbing and pipe fitter to his resume. The Tigers were supposed to play yesterday, but this is what you get. Early season baseball. It's one of those things. Inclement weather. What are you going to do? It's postponed. It's going to be a makeup. We're going to do a doubleheader today, which will be a lot of fun. That'll be great because it'll be 2 games. They should be doing this every day anyways. Not every day, but they should be doing this at least once a week. Anyways, it's scheduling the doubleheader, especially with the way that the game's been moving with the pitch clock. Like, why wouldn't
once a month? We'll go with once a month to start.
Why not once a week?
Well, just think about it this way: once a month, that's about 5 or 6 doubleheaders. That's a week off the back end of the season. That's pretty good.
So once a week.
Yeah, if you did
doubleheader.
Yeah, you'd cut a 20 days or something.
Yeah, there we go. Then we would have baseball finishing as football is like semi kind of starting the beginning of the year. Like that would be great. That's what I'm looking for. 1:40 and 6:40 are the times. So not back to back, a split doubleheader. I don't know if I like that. Just back to back. Just throw some new dirt out there, rake it around.
I think it's because it's, middle of the week, the evening game, probably expecting a decent crowd because of Scherzer on the hill.
Max. Oh, yeah.
So I think it's more of like, we'll honor the people that bought those evening tickets and not try to put them out of moving the game up 2 hours.
Oh, we salute you, evening ticket holders.
By the way, what do you think, Matt? Max, date in game 2, Tired Tigers.
Hour 45.
Gonna be ugly.
This game will be over before 8:30.
Max will need a total of, let's see here. He's going to need 20, 40, 60. He's going to need 81 pitches. That's it. Complete game, no hitter, 81 pitches, 81 for strikes.
The immaculate game.
I don't know what you'd even call that.
So the immaculate game, because the immaculate inning is 3 strikeouts on 9 pitches.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's what they'd have to go with. The first ever in history against his old club. Speaking of Max Scherzer, he spoke with the media and chopping it up a little bit. This will make Tigers fans feel good.
I mean, first, it was the mentality here with Dombrowski and Jim Leyland of letting starters start. I was a young arm, wasn't refined yet. And you know what? Early in my career, I struggled going third time through the order. But with Jim, he was, no, you're going to pitch. We don't care. Like you go out there and do a job. You're pitching deep in the ballgame. You're going to learn. And they put me in positions to fail. Not to make that bad, but like, no, you have to fail. You have to learn by failure. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, facing all these teams, you get in division, like the Cleveland Indians. There was a while in there. I mean, but the Cleveland Indians, trying to face the Cleveland Indians over and over and over, all those left-hand hitters, like they made me better. Like I had to level up in order to get better from them. And I can only think. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, how many times can you say Cleveland Indians? By the way, it's not a curse word. It's what they were called. And so somebody who's been around Major League Baseball and has played Major League Baseball, and that was a divisional rival of said player that was called this for 100 years. Dude, it's not like saying Cleveland Indians isn't racist. It was the team's name. Like, get over it. Like, it's now the Guardians, okay? It wasn't the Guardians when he played them. Plain and simple. So I don't expect him to walk in there and be like, oh, well, yeah, my bad. I mean Guardians. Like, no, they were the Cleveland Indians. It's, geez Louise. get over that portion of it. But I do like the fact that what Mad Max is saying here is something that we can all kind of apply, right? I mean, in every team in baseball should be doing this. Like, we are so afraid to have somebody pitch like 7 innings. It's disgusting. Like, somebody goes 8 innings, like, oh my God, their arm's going to fall off. How are they going to do it? Like, guys didn't throw 8 or 9 innings, in the 90s or in the 80s. Like, I know, obviously, we're not drinking cases of beer and smoking darts in the clubhouse anymore. Obviously, things change. I get it. Guys can still go out there and pitch. Let them pitch. All this pampering, this babying, this like bubble boy management, snowplow, man, they're as bad as today's parents. I don't want anything bad to happen to little Jimmy, so I got to clear out all the problems. Well, guess what? Little Jimmy's UCL just blew off because probably because he's been pitching too much too early, and now when it counts, you can't pitch it more than 4 or 5 innings. Like, 70 pitches. Jeez. The worst thing ever. All right, that was Max Scherzer. Here's Justin Verlander.
I mean, yeah, it was one hell of a run. From like the Cinderella story of 2006, through the, really just year in and year out, the team was a juggernaut and going deep in the playoffs every year. And, Mr. I was doing anything he could to put an unbelievable product on the field. What a time to be not only a player for the Tigers organization, but a fan. It was just you said the glory days. It felt like that as a player too. It was just so fun to be part of it.
Does it kind of shock you how, I guess, down they've been since you left? You left in 2017, and they started trading away guys and haven't made the playoffs since you were on that 14 team.
I don't know, man. It doesn't surprise me. No, I think everybody kind of saw it coming as pieces started to be traded away. I'm always rooting for the best for the organization, though, and it seems like they're bringing in some pieces to start turning things around.
How are you the same, and how are you different from the time you returned?
I feel like I'm pretty similar. Like pitching-wise, a similar arsenal. I have a little more. I got more information as I left with analytics. Obviously went from like 0 to 100, going from Detroit to Houston at the time. Back in 17, I don't know how they are now. Quite different as a person, just growing up a lot. With my family and just maturing as a human being. Just growth, man. It's it's been quite the journey, and it's been a lot of fun, man. I've enjoyed the ride.
Went 0 to 100 with analytics. They didn't believe in analytics when he was here. That's funny. It is interesting how, like, some guys, they really use it, and it's information, right? It's not like what they're getting is this guy's got a 2.5 WAR. Like they're getting different information based on where, how hitters are, what they react to. I bet you that they even have like pitch sequences down. Where you could look up a guy and see what kind of trends via a pitch sequence, like what you wanted to throw first, second, third. You know what I mean? I bet you they have that information. Like this one here gets them every time. Like if you went fastball, slider, changeup, guaranteed. Like I bet that they have that. Like I'm sure that they have so much information. It's like dispersing what can actually be useful and then what is useless, like filtering through all that nonsense to try to come up with a grand sheet. It's good to hear from those guys. It's nice. It hurts. It does hurt because I don't know, we haven't really had that. Right? We just not to this extent, to where guys went on and just, they accomplished most everything that they did without ever doing it here. It's they're very unique individuals in the realm of the history of Detroit sports, and to have them both now on the same team playing us this week, that cuts deep. We'll step aside. We'll be back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street, you're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
For a lot of us, music and mental health are intertwined. That's why the Collaborative Lab created In Tune, a free live stream event, and you're invited. May 18th is Mental Health Action Day, so take action for your own mental health by joining us from 7 to 9 p.m. Musical performances and conversations with the Verve Pipe, Br0's, Carlos Sese, Cole Hansen, and more. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org to learn how you can join the party for free.
From planting a simple seed to managing a global food supply, growing, processing, and distributing food is the backbone of America. You deal with food safety and labor issues, cost control, and not to mention Mother Nature. But do you have time to explore research development and biotechnical tax credits? Properly administer payroll for temporary employees. Ensure that you're operating at your most profitable? That's where we come in. We're Bean Garter. And while your business is America's food supply, our business is helping you run your business better. We'll assist with tax credits, assess your processes and controls, and so much more. And while we may not be able to help you plant your crops, we can help you realize a rich financial harvest. From the family farm to worldwide distribution of all the things you grow, grow your business better. Experience service, expertise, and simplicity at Bean Garter. Find us online, beangarter.com. Bean Garter.
Share your thoughts all morning long on the Meyer Guest Line. Call 248-951-2176. That's 248-951-2176. Now, back to Danny, Ryan, and AB.
You might be down and out, but that's okay because golf season is here, and Matt Golden and his team are ready to welcome you to one of the best golfing experiences in the great state of Michigan. It's called Tullymore Golf Resort in Canadian Lakes, offering not one but two championship courses, Tullymore and St. Ives. Located about an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant. Up north golf without the drive. Smack dab in the middle of the state, so it's easy to get to no matter where you are at. It is a golf destination you have to put on your bucket list to play this summer if you haven't done so already. So visit TullymoreGolf.com, TullymoreGolf.com, or call 1-800-972-4837, 1-800-972-4837. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. Did you know that yesterday, I believe, was the 19th anniversary of when this song was released? Did you know that?
Wow, I did not know that. That's pretty crazy.
Kanye West, there's this other guy named All Day Somebody who actually produced that beat but never got credit for it. He was supposed to be credited as the co-producer. They gave that one to Kanye in the credits, and then he actually didn't really come clean, but he said, no, I mean, that was all him. I was just labeled as a co-producer. That was it. And then they didn't even give that guy credit for it. So pretty wild. Cameron in the album Purple Haze. So there you go, all you Gordon Lightfoot fans. Like, oh, this guy doesn't know anything about squat. Well, they're fun fact, and that wasn't even prepared. That's just all off the top of the head. That's when rap music was rap music. These kids these days. Anyways, all right. Anybody see what's going on with? There was an interview that took place, and it's one of those things that it's unfortunate because we don't have the same access because we are not the flagship. So there are some interviews that I would like to have, some guests that I would like to have on that it just hasn't happened. And it's tough because it's a tough pill to swallow because when you work for the organization, you would think, but that's not how the organization works. And I respect that. It's not like I'm mad. It's just like, man, I wish it was, when I was doing, just local radio, if we needed a head coach, you just text the individual. You didn't have to go through all the protocols of everything. It's like, oh, well, we got rights, and if they're going to do any media, that's got to go that, it's a hassle. The higher up the food chain you get, the more hassle that there is. So yesterday, General Manager Brad Holmes was speaking with the flagship, and I don't know, yes, I do work for the organization, but they have never once told me what to say outside of, hey, could you mention the Quick Lane Bowl? We'll give you some tickets. Yeah, that'd be great. Outside of that, they don't tell me what to say. There's no censorship, right? I put my own thinking cap on and try to use what New York Scott would refer to as, career CLMs, right? What did he say? Career lessening moves or something like that.
Limiting, I think.
Yeah, career limiting moves. And it always stuck with me, New York Scott. So I try to limit my CLMs. That's what I'm trying to do. CLMs go down, right? Career goes up. Inverse. And the GM spoke. And all I could think to myself is, I know, people are going to think that I'm on the payroll. They're going to think that based on what Brad Holmes said, listening to this show for the last 3-4 weeks, they're going to think that this guy's being told what to say. He's like a puppet. They're going to think that Brad Holmes literally has his hand up the back of my shirt and is making the puppet stuff, and I'm just out here just portraying the song and dance. Here's what he had to say. Quote, you got to battle the whole thing of people having minimal information versus people having all the information, which is us. And it's tough for fans because they all have to get off. All they have to get off of is the information that they see. The people putting together these mock drafts the last 2 to 3 months. Well, we've been grinding it for the past 9 months. Whenever you put a cognitive strain in a project, i.e. mock drafts or forecasts of where a player is going to be picked, when the desired result isn't what you wanted, your brain's not going to like it. But if it matches up, and you get a dopamine rush, it's great. But if not, now you're kind of mad. And then what compounds it is now you got to get a grade while your brain still doesn't like it, the person who doesn't have much information and put less time of work is disappointed because of the person who has all the information and put in the most time of work. Eventually, the season will kick off, and that's why we acquire the players that we acquire, because we're trying to win games. And as that time comes around, the critics or whoever it is, I think they'll be happy with what they see on the field this year. Jelani Tavai was a bad pick. Jelani Tavai was a bad pick. That was a bad pick from the minute they picked him. Like, who? You did what now? Right? That was and it's tough as a Lions fan to watch Jelani Tavai be taken in the second round and then to have any sort of faith or belief that anybody knows what's going on. Jelani Tavai wasn't just a miserable pick for Lions fans. That was a head scratcher for anybody that covers the NFL. So I'm looking at Brad Holmes. I'm looking at Dan Campbell. And I'm looking at the video of them in the room, very excited, hugging everybody, elbowing people in the groin. It happens. That's why you don't hug somebody sitting down. Coach Campbell knows now. Don't do that. Got to wait. And wait till he stands up. Get your distance, right? Use your jab, get your distance. And so the celebration is happening there. And it's like, okay, all right, Jahmyr Gibbs at 12. It's interesting. It's interesting. What do we know about Jahmyr Gibbs? What can Jahmyr Gibbs do? And then you start to see, like, there's got to be somebody in the media that you trust. And no, I don't mean Mel Kiper or Todd McShay. It's not a shot at either one of those guys. But being a draft analyst is different than actually working in a front office. And it's not that I don't respect the time that and the effort that they put into it. But when it comes to evaluating talent, dude, if you were that solid at it, you'd be employed. I think you'd make more money in an NFL franchise than you would on ESPN. I'm just saying. But there's got to be somebody that you trust that has a thought on this, right? And, if it's Freddie the Pizza Man, he really likes, what's his name? Mike Lombardi. He really likes Mike Lombardi. I really like Louis Riddick. I think Uncle Lou, watching the broadcast of the draft, his passion, his emotion for it, his intelligence, his delivery, just from a broadcasting standpoint, I thought was spot on. Spot on. And if I were him, unless he really wants to, I would stay right there on television. They probably get paid more in the front office than what he makes at ESPN, but at this point, it ain't even about money. It's about quality of life. But when the Detroit Lions select Jahmyr Gibbs, and they move back to do so. Now, did they move back because Devin Witherspoon was gone, because C.J. Stroud was gone, and those were maybe players 1 and 2 on their board? That's very possible. They moved back to 12, and Jahmyr Gibbs was a guy that they were comfortable with, allegedly, taking at 6. That's how good they felt about him. So instead of taking him at 6, and then people really would have went nuts, you move back, you add draft capital, and you select them at 12. Then you get Jack Campbell at 18. And then they selected Sam Laporta. It's like, why'd you select the kid from Iowa instead of the kid from Notre Dame at tight end? That is probably a really good place to go for what the actual point of this is. The point of this is that no matter what, I put this in the group chat too, and they're like, oh, I hate this pick, I hate that pick, blase. Why? I need you to explain your thought process as to why you hate this pick. Because if you are going to go the route of, which this was never presented in the group chat, nobody had an answer. They just didn't like the pick because Mel Kiper didn't have him there. And that was my whole point. I'm here to argue your thought process. Brad Holmes is telling you the same thing that I told those guys, the same thing that I said on this radio show. Are you watching film? Are you doing interviews? Were you at the pro day? Are you speaking to former coaches of this player? Are you taking a deep dive into the family background of this player? Are you doing anything at all except for watching whatever pops up on the screen going, oh, this guy, oh, he's second-ranked player of the league. I use it as a reference point, too. You heard me all throughout the draft process say, hey, this is the second-ranked player, and then, quote, according to ESPN. That's an important part of this because without the according to ESPN, second-ranked to who? There are a lot of people that put a lot of work into the NFL draft, right? But at the end of the day, even those people are still kind of on the outside versus what actual GMs and scouts and staff are going through to try to figure out everything they can about a specific player, especially when you're dealing in human capital, right?
It's not even kind of outside. They are a million miles outside. Like,
well, you get some guys that travel to Senior Bowl. You can talk to some coaches. Maybe there's some relatives there.
They're not.
Give them some credit.
They are not. No, I'm sorry. Dane Brugler is not calling guys' parents.
Yeah, you're
guys,
not talking to
aunts and uncles.
He's
not.
You're not talking to a high school coach.
No. So Brad Holmes is right. They're calling. Dude, they're calling the janitor from these kids' middle schools and stuff. Like, that's what they're trying to – that's who they're talking to find out the core of who these kids are. They don't – sure, it's about being a good football player. It's also about whether you're going to show up 7 days a week.
I've talked several times the teams that love Jahmyr Gibbs. People thought the Jets might have taken him at 15, and I know – there were teams that loved Jack Campbell were going to take him in the 20s. If you love these guys, you can't assume they're going to be there later. That was from Ross Tucker. There is no assumption for what it takes for who's going to be available and how you're going to wiggle around here. Like they would have been there. They would have been. You don't know that. You can't guarantee me that they would have been there.
I loved seeing that. I kept seeing Jahmyr Gibbs would have been there at 34. It's like, no, he wouldn't have.
Apparently not.
No, it's like that one. If people want to say, like, oh, he could have been there at 18, he could have. Jack Campbell is like, they wouldn't have gotten both players, though. If they bumped everything back a pick, they wouldn't have gotten both.
Yeah.
One of those guys were going to be gone between 18 and 34.
They got who they wanted, and that's what's most important, right? They got the guys that they believe in. And based upon what we have seen via the 2021 and 2022 seasons, we have seen a front office and coaching staff in lockstep on how they want to build a football team, the type of player that they are looking for, and how they're going to go about playing offense and playing defense. A lot of people, I get the build on your strengths. Brad Holmes did talk a lot about medicals. He's like, people are talking about medicals. You don't have all the medical information. We do. You don't have it. And I like that because it's, that could be maybe why they passed on Tyree Wilson, or maybe Tyree Wilson said this a million times. I'm enamored by the overall physical specimen that is Tyree Wilson. Like 6'6", 270, I have this envision in my mind of what that looks like on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. Maybe, and it probably do, and I think they showed it, they believe, outside of getting Broderick in the, fourth, what round was that, where they picked him up at? Like Broderick Martin?
Third round.
Third round. Outside of that late third round selection, pick 33 in the third round, it kind of felt like they felt really good about where they were at on the defensive line, didn't it? Like they felt like they had a good enough group. Like James Houston wasn't running wild last year. Like John Kaminsky didn't have a good year last year. Like Aleem McNeil can't reach another level. Like Aiden Hutchinson wasn't in the Rookie of the Year voting. Like, oh, we just forgot all about that. We got to go. Why? There's other areas to address.
Yeah, this Broderick Martin kid comes in and becomes serviceable, becomes, it needs to be a starter, but just needs to be a contributing member to that line.
Can the floor be Isaiah Buggs?
Something like that. Like, if then I'll feel more comfortable with how this draft turned out. Because that was the real, I think, need of the Lions team, was they need interior line help. So why they were projected to take an edge this whole time was really weird. But, if this Broderick Martin kid comes in, can come in and help, then great, job done in the draft.
Yeah, and they addressed secondary and free agency, added Brian Branch in the second round with their 4th pick. Yeah. Added a linebacker. You knew that they needed help there. Well, who's he going to play over? Is he going to start? Well, you just relax. Will you relax? They'll probably play next to Alex Anzalone, who he's probably going to play next to.
It's a 3-man rotation for 2 spots, which you're going to do anyway.
Thank you. And guess what? If they're in a base 4-3, then you can play all 3 of them at the same time. I don't really care. But you needed help there. You needed to get better. You got a guy that might be on your team for 10 years. Like, the fact that Brad Holmes went on there and talked and the things that he said, I felt like, thank you. Because I've been saying it, but it's nice to finally hear it from the man. To really say, like, look, guys, we love you. We appreciate your interest. It's draft season. We know what that does to everybody. We got to go get our guys. And it doesn't matter what somebody thinks driving down 94 right now going, oh, well, they should have taken – it doesn't matter. You have no real valid information on why they should have taken player X, Y, and Z. That's why I don't talk about Michigan players. How many times did I mention Ronnie Bell or Mozzie Smith during this show? I don't talk about them because I'm not going to have –
You didn't even know Mozzie Smith got drafted in the first round on Friday.
Late to the boys.
Yeah, say you were at the Lions draft party and probably driving home when the pick happened. I fell asleep right before the pick happened. But also the funny thing about the Lions draft is that throughout the first and second round, all of the national people and all the fans were just like, I really don't know what the Lions are doing. It feels like they're reaching. And then when they look back at it, like, well, if you just rearrange their first 4 picks, like if you put him there, like that kind of lines up with where we had them ranked, and it's actually a pretty good draft. It's like, oh, so if you look at the top 50 players, the Lions got 4 players ranked in everyone's top 50.
That's interesting.
It's a good draft.
It's a good draft.
The Brian Branch pick, I think, turned everyone's head.
Oh, yeah. They were. Oh, my God. A safety from Bama. We got to have him. NBA playoff season's big hoops action at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Hopefully you made a little scratch last night with the official sports video partner of the association. Get in on all the excitement every game with the touch of a button. New customers can make a $5 pregame moneyline bet and score $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. Plus, everyone can score a no-sweat same-game parlay every day during the NBA playoffs. Open up the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place the same-game parlay on any NBA game. If it doesn't hit, don't worry. You're going to get a bonus bet back up to $10. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code HUGE, promo code HUGE only at DraftKings. If you or somebody knows a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline at 800-270-7117, 21 plus, Michigan only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Opt-in is required. One bonus bet issued based on the amount of the initial losing NBA bet. Eligibility, wagering, deposit restrictions will apply. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. We'll be back. Hour number 2 is next. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
At Mercantile Bank, we believe supporting the communities we serve is a vital part of who we are. Our team is here to make a positive impact, a real difference, and we're always looking for leaders to join our team because we're not just a bank, we're a partner, here to support what matters most. Come grow with us. Visit mercbank.com to learn more, and let's support our community together. Mercantile Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Employer.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle. Spin the money wheel and win up to $100,000 cash. Every Saturday in April from 5 to 11 p.m. One winner each hour will spin for the win and take home up to $100,000. Whirl in for $100,000 money wheel. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base!
Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street, you're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
Good morning, everyone.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's a good morning. Wake up to a brand new day. Hello. Good morning. Good morning, Vietnam.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Welcome back here. Hour number 2 on this Wednesday. It's Hump Day. It's the 3rd day of May, 2023. Great to have you ride along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio as well, from Traverse City down to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City. We say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you. Join the program at any time. You can text the keyword sports radio. Send that to 21,000 sports radio to 21000. Meyer Supercenter guest line 248-951-2176, 248-951-2176. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros. And, of course, good morning to our television audience as well on BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube channel at Michigan Sports Network at .com. To that to find our website. Danny Cahalan is at Dan in the studio. Ryan Elke is at RyanL_Key. And I'm Anthony Bellino at AC Bellino. Long form, if you want to, you can send us an email in our fan feedback email inbox, xbmornings@gmail.com. All right, what's going on in the world of sports today? Well, we'll try to get you all caught up with all the happenings. We'll do so right now in the headlines.
Big news.
I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
No, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories of the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
All right, huge news. Tigers got postponed yesterday due to weather, so they'll have a doubleheader today, 1:10 and 6:40 start times for the Tigers. Max Scherzer on the hill in Game 2 tonight, huh? Mad Max. That'll be great, won't it? Good to see him and Verlander. If you missed it, the audio circulated 140. I'm sorry, not 110. 140 for game number 1 today. The returning, both playing on the same team again. In Detroit again, man, both having great success after their time in Detroit. So tough pill to swallow here for Tigers fans. Ex-Raiders wide receiver Henry Ruggs III is going to plead guilty in the fatal DUI crash. Here's what he's facing. Sir, it could serve 3 to 10 years. The case now moves to the 8th Judicial District Court for hearing on May 10th when he's expected to formally plead guilty. Man, had it all. Threw it all away.
It was early November 2021. So it was 16 months ago.
Wow. Threw your whole NFL career away. Do you remember the photos from that crash?
Oh, yeah. Dude, he's going 156 miles an hour, I think.
Jeez. The Packers have reached a 1-year extension with quarterback Jordan Love. This is kind of interesting. Instead of doing the 5th-year rookie extension, the two sides yesterday agreed to a 1-year contract. It's worth up to $22.5 million. It includes $13.5 million fully guaranteed. Kind of a cheap price tag when you think about your quarterback. It's a lot of money for a guy who hasn't played, but at the same time, obviously, we're moving forward with him, so we'll figure it out by Tuesday. That's what was said when the Packers. About the option, would they not pick it up? Had they declined it outright, the Packers would have had an out if they didn't like what they saw from Love during the 23 season.
Yeah, I saw people yesterday. Why did the Lions draft Hooker if they want to extend Goff? The exact same. We're seeing the reason the Packers did it. Jordan Love might not be great, but he's got the experience. He's got more experience than he would have had if it was just, hey, you're the starter day one rookie of rookie mini camp.
Well, I don't know if he would have had. Well, if he was the starter day one rookie mini camp, that means he would have been playing.
I'm just saying, like he's better off with having the experience under Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
rather
yeah.
than
He's going to be garbage either way, though. I think that they know that. Yeah, I think they know that's why they didn't. That's why it wasn't like, hey, let's get you 3 years because we know.
I mean, they gave him $25 million for one season.
Up to 13.5 guaranteed, but only up to 22.5. So it's not going to cost them very much at quarterback, considering they just got a $40 million discount by getting rid of Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. I think they know he's not it, and here's your 1 year. Let's see what you can do. If you play really well, then we'll talk about another contract. If you don't play well, we're going right back to the draft.
If he plays decent, they're like, you know what? If we can get him on a 4-year deal, like cheaply,
and then hit the draft,
and kind of rebuild this team, and that way we're not spending $50 million on one position anymore.
Yeah,
or at least in the quarterback position anymore, and we can really build this team up again.
Yeah, no, I mean it makes sense. I just man, it's tough to see what he is going to be, and that's a great question for the Green Bay Packers. I hope that they're miserable for the rest of my life. I really do. They've had enough. The Cards declined their 5th-year option on linebacker Isaiah Simmons. If you remember him, he was one of the guys that was in Okuda's class, right? And we were like, oh, we gotta get him. He's so versatile. He's this, he's that. He's another guy not getting an option picked up, along with guys like Chase Young. So pretty interesting. Super Bowl 57 was the most watched telecast ever, according to updated data. So the Chiefs' 38-35 win over the Philadelphia Eagles on February 12th drew an average of 115.1 million viewers across all platforms, nearly 2 million more than Nielsen's previous announcement. The updated numbers show that this year's Super Bowl surpassed the previous record set in 2015 when 114.4 watched the Patriots beat the Seahawks. Here's my question. Nielsen did not start accounting for out-of-home streaming estimates until 2021. So it's unclear whether the Super Bowl telecast in 2015 or 17 would have surpassed 115.1 million viewers.
You can also choose whether they get your data or not. If you go into YouTube, if you have YouTube TV, you can go in there and tell Nielsen whether they get your information or not.
But it doesn't make any sense because if one establishment has one TV and there's 50 people in there, there's no way to accurately, if you have 100.
This is all guesstimating.
Yeah, that's all the the rate. It's probably way more than that. If you had 115 million TVs.
Yeah, I mean, we had at the Super Bowl party I was at, we had 85 people, maybe 90, and there was 5 or 6 big TVs like around the room.
If I had to guesstimate how many people were watching the NFL draft at the Detroit Lions, that I probably saw 10,000 people, and I couldn't see in the club level because I wasn't up there. Who knows how many people were up there? So how do you account for all those people? Man, Anthony Davis joins Rare Company, propelling the Lakers to the Game 1 victory. They won 117-112. AD went crazy, absolutely crazy. Blocked the layup by Steph Curry. Got a rebound off a Jordan Poole miss. Put that thing away. 30 points, 23 rebounds, 5 assists, played every single minute of the second half. How about that? My goodness. Yeah, it wasn't about LeBron James. If you listen to the program, you listened to it yesterday, it was all about Anthony Davis and how effective, how good was he going to be? Well, he put up 23 points on 9 of 10 shooting, 5 of 5 from the free throw line, and 11 rebounds in the first half alone. It's crazy. Chris Paul's status is in doubt for games 3 and 4 due to the groin strain. We'll see if he's available for game number 5. Philadelphia 76ers center Joel Embiid wins his first career MVP. Congratulations to Joel Embiid. He beat out Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo for the league's top individual honor. Personally, I would have went with Giannis. I understand we'll get into the MVP discussion. Do we have a little bit of voter fatigue? Whose turn is it? With Kyle Barlow coming up at 7:35 this morning. How about the Stars Pavelski, by the way? An epic game number 1. Joe scored 4 goals for Dallas. 4.
I don't know if he ended up going 100%, but he was 7 for 7 from the face-off dot at one point, too.
It's just unbelievable. Dallas beats the Kraken 5-4 in overtime. And Joe Pavelski had 4 of those goals.
No. Seattle beat Dallas.
Oh, Seattle beat Dallas 5-4. Pavelski had 4 goals for the Stars.
Yeah, had all 4.
That's crazy. 4 goals in one playoff
game. For Dallas, he just wasted an all-time game.
Nuts. At 38 years old, 38 years and 295 days. He's the oldest player with a 4-goal game in NHL Stanley Cup playoff history. We'll step aside. We're back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
From planting a simple seed to managing a global food supply, growing, processing, and distributing food is the backbone of America. You deal with food safety and labor issues, cost control, and not to mention Mother Nature. But do you have time to explore research development and biotechnical tax credits? Properly administer payroll for temporary employees. Ensure that you're operating at your most profitable? That's where we come in. We're Bean Garter. And while your business is America's food supply, our business is helping you run your business better. We'll assist with tax credits, assess your processes and controls, and so much more. And while we may not be able to help you plant your crops, we can help you realize a rich financial harvest. From the family farm to worldwide distribution of all the things you grow, grow your business better. Experience service, expertise, and simplicity at Bean Garter. Find us online, beangarter.com. Bean Garter.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports and Network. Danny Cahala, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio as well. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you here on this Wednesday. Hopefully you're having a great Wednesday as well. A reminder, now's a great time to book your stay and play at Tullymore Golf Resort, located in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, offering 2 championship courses, Tullymore and St. Ives, located about an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant. So it's smack dab in the middle of the state. It's easy to get to no matter where you are driving from. And golf season, it's officially here. It's May. You got to book it now, though. TullymoreGolf.com. The dates fill up fast. TullymoreGolf.com. They've got the courses. They've got the lodging, everything you need right there. Book your stay and play package. Call 1-800-972-4837. 1-800-972-4837. Exciting times for the golfer in your life. All right, it is hour 2. It's segment 2, which means it's time for Will in Comstock Park's favorite segment of the show. He loves it. He wants more Lions trivia. I said, no, we can only do it once. So out of, here's our trivia question. Oh my goodness, this is too easy. This is too easy, but it's the trivia question today. So what SEC school did Lions select quarterback Matthew Stafford with the top overall pick in the 2009 NFL Draft?
Philadelphia Bulldogs.
Philadelphia Bulldogs is correct. Georgia has moved their franchise north to the city of brotherly love. See how that pans out for them.
Philly has gotten it more right than other NFL teams. You know, you hear about, Patriots West is coming. Every NFL team trying to emulate different NFL teams, and Philadelphia is like, who is the best team in college? We'll just take those guys.
It'll be interesting to see how this whole thing, plays out. Carter's going to be one that we're going to keep our eyes out on, and you know what? If he has a good career, then great. And Lions fans go, we should have drafted him. If he gets into trouble or has a bad career, then it's like, well, I mean, they were right the whole time. So kind of a coin flip and to see that interview. This must be with Brad Holmes. That interview told me they've been speaking to Goff about a contract extension before the draft, and they're not agreeing. Goff rightfully wants more closer to what Kyler Murray gets, in my opinion. Lions are not going there, and they shouldn't, and are preparing for the future this year, drafting quarterbacks, and I'm sure they will next year if they have to. They know what many know. All Brad Holmes said is that they've talked. That's it. I wouldn't read anything
and that's
more.
Not the flagship had to walk. Well, they used the flagship to walk back that statement a little bit. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh no! Tell me more.
The actual quote was, "We've had conversations," we've had dialogue about that, and then later on it was put the word internal was put in front of dialogue.
Didn't Brad say they've talked to his agent?
He said we've had dialogue about that, and then later on they inserted the word internal in front of it.
Oh, it like that. This to me is one of those. It's one of those things where you're making a mountain out of a molehill. He was asked about it. They're not going to give up any useful information on it, so they don't give anything at all. And then fans just take that and run with it, like, oh my God, they're getting rid of it. He's not going to get a Kyler Murray contract. I firmly believe those are not going to exist for very much longer. They just can't. Like Arizona, if they don't win with Kyler Murray, that is a monumental waste of money. What the Browns did with Deshaun Watson, even the amount of money that was guaranteed to Lamar Jackson, 185 or whatever it was. It's just those are just preposterous numbers that, I don't think that, although look, if Jared Goff plays another season where he is top 10 in the league, then he should, he's probably going to want to be paid like so, but he's under contract for another year following that. We'll see. He's got 2 years to kind of prove it. And then if the Lions want to move on from him after that, they can do so. And if they like to ride it out and they think that he's their guy and they have some success and they win a Super Bowl, then everybody can just shut up about it, right? They win the Super Bowl this year and Jared Goff throws for 800 yards and 12 touchdowns in the Super Bowl, then everybody can be, oh, he's the greatest quarterback. Some people just don't like him. They just don't like him. Based on his production and what he was paid last year, that's a win for the organization. They drafted a quarterback. They get somebody who has a higher upside than Nate Sudfeld as the backup. That's a win for the organization, right? Those are the things that we're looking for. Tell me my guy, New York Scott, is on hold. Tell me he's waiting. He's on the Maya Super Center guest line, 248-951-2176, 248-951-2176. New York Scott, do not make any career-limiting moves today, Scott.
I love it. No CLMs today, brother.
No CLMs. I'm already aggravated. Sir. It's only 7:24. I saw something on Twitter just aggravated the hell out of me. I was like, I got to calm down. Don't do anything. Put the phone down.
Yeah. Just ignore it. I saw one of those stupid Facebook reels, and it was like a donkey arguing a tiger, and then they eventually go to the king of the jungle, and he penalizes the tiger. He's like, yes, the donkey's wrong, but you're even worse for engaging with such an animal. Like, you should be wiser, right? So, we're tigers out here. We may not be the kings of the jungle, but we're wise enough to not argue with the jackasses of the day either. So.
Oh, the best quote I ever heard in my life is, don't argue with idiots. They'll bring you down to their level and win by experience.
I can't believe you referenced the Tigers here. I don't know if I want to be the Tigers right now. We're a floundering franchise. Yeah. Not a lot of hope, not a lot of future.
I was just saying, as a majestic animal of the world, they're very wise. They're sleek, big cat, whatever. Anyways, you got me off topic, but analytics, guys, come on. How many times have you navigated somewhere and Google tells you there's a slowdown ahead or what the best route is? It's the same thing with football. They see that there's 23 phones in somebody's house. They know there's 23 people watching the Super Bowl there. Buffalo Wild Wings is a packed house. They know capacity is 206 at this location, so there's 206 people watching the Super Bowl there. So on and so on. So that's some of how they derive those analytics and try to get the most accurate numbers. Is it skewed by maybe a couple million? Sure. But these guys do this for a living. You got to remember, there's people that make hundreds of thousands of dollars to figure out this math. People that are smarter than us that know calculus and advanced equations, right? So that's part of how they get into those numbers. Is it 100% foolproof? No. But, again, even if you don't allow your location, I think Dan said that you could turn that off. How many times are you talking to your phone and next thing you know, the ad's popping up tomorrow for the thing you were talking to your buddy about? They're still pinging phones next to phones, and, we got tracking devices on us, guys. Let's just be real, They're in our business. You don't think they know where you are, when you are, and what you're watching? They do, for sure.
God, I hope they didn't watch my golf game last Saturday. Oh, jeez, that's enough to get me deported. I sent to Guantanamo.
They canceled that line as soon as you hit the green. They're like, oh, yeah, Bellino's back out on the course. No, we don't have to monitor this anymore. So.
Oh, I'm glad they didn't monitor my language out there. Oh, my goodness. I got the yips trying to putt. A 3-putt machine. Terrible.
That's why Bar0's soaps came up on your phone. You wash your mouth out.
That's what it was. I was wondering why I kept getting I was like, I don't use Dove soap. And it's like Bar0 soap here, Bar0 soap there. Like, oh, God, what's going on?
We have a little putting course at my work in the office. I know it's kind of ridiculous to say, but we do. And every day I bet probably $10 to $50, and we do about 30-foot putts closer to the hole. And I think I'm only down $20 for a couple weeks. So I had a couple hot runs, and then I probably lost $100. But trying to keep my putting game sharp because everything else is miserable for me. Lions draft, I don't even want to talk about it. It's going to get me too worked up. But I will say, huge recovery. Sam Laporta, great pick. Branch, great pick. I love the backup quarterback pick. Outside of the blunder of the first round, really, I think you guys did really, really well for yourself. And it's only a blunder to me on paper, right? Nothing in the draft is for sure. All we have is a college body of work. But according to the experts, draft beats need, beats this, right? I mean, it doesn't feel like you guys capitalized in the first round, but if they come out and do their job, they come out and do their job. No one looks back. So I think there'll be big eyes on those first two picks. But I mean, really great draft. The moves that they made, the things that they did, the people they picked. If you're a Lions fan, I think you're pretty happy. Maybe not as happy.
Yeah, we're incredibly happy, I think, for the most part. Hey, Scott, we got to run. We got to hit the break, but we'll be back with more X's and Bros after this. Don't go anywhere. Stay right there here on the Michigan Sports Network.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Imagine this. A day filled with indulgence, bursting with excitement, and packed with extraordinary moments that build memories to last a lifetime. A day that is unmistakably yours, at the place that is undeniably spectacular. Whether you're winning big, dining lavishly, or relaxing oh so comfortably, it's your getaway reimagined at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros on the back here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Danny Gahler, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Join us how he typically does on Tuesdays, but that's my bad, everybody. It's a Wednesday morning. He was a GA under John Beilein at the University of Michigan, a graduate of Concordia. That's where he played his college hoops at, and now he's an assistant coach on the bench for Ohio University. Our good buddy Kyle Barlow. Find him on Twitter at Kyle Barlow4. Studio audience, they love you, Coach Barlow. How are you? How's life? How are things, my friend?
Fantastic, my man. Like, look, you know what? It's great to be here and great to be on with you again. I saw, you know, maybe somebody's in Jupiter to get more stupid. I don't know. But, you know, I'm just glad to be on today. You know, I saw some Snapchats. You know, I'm not going to put anybody on blast. Just looking forward to the 3-club invitational whenever that date gets set.
It looks like it's going to be July 29th.
Okay. Good. Now we got some in the book. Got it in the book.
Is that feasible?
I'll let you know. I'll check the recruiting calendar.
Okay.
Do my homework. I'll let you know. I'll see if there's any LaMelo Ball jersey guys available to sleep on my dad's boat that weekend, because that's what happened the last time we played in the 3-club invitation. We had a random LaMelo Ball jersey guy, because it was raining on all night, sleeping in the captain's deck. So we'll see.
Yeah,
you know?
I love those adventures. And since when is it? When do you get a third club? That's what I want to know. I want to know where did you add?
Club?
Yeah, where did you add an extra club to the bag? Are you bringing your own? Is it like jazz flute? You just happen to be prepared.
Well, some people have 3 legs, and you know, well, I'll just leave it there.
Wow!
Hurt my feelings. Bing bong.
All right. So it's
the FCC won't let me be. Let me be me. No, that's right.
So speaking of, you know, things that come in threes, well, Nikola Jokic fell short of his 3rd consecutive MVP. I want to segue there. Hey, but real quick, shout out to the big guys, the traditional centers. Even though they're not as traditional anymore, a center has now won the Most Valuable Player award in the NBA 3 consecutive years. Jokic did it in 21 and in 22. It was announced last night Joel Embiid gets it done for 2023. When you look at the MVP award, how would you go about, let's say Coach Barlow here has a vote. How are you going to cast your vote? What are you looking for to determine who is the most valuable player in the league?
I like the high usage guys who basically you run your entire offense through them, and they have 1 or 2 things that they have moves at their disposal that are unstoppable. And that's how I kind of look at it. Like, guys that have 1 or 2 moves that are unstoppable, no matter how you scout, how you prepare. And the NBA is more liberal in their rules in terms of allowing offensive players freedom of movement. Like, you know, in college basketball, like Embiid would be doubled every time on the block. It's just harder in the NBA based on their defensive 3 rules, their spacing rules, and all that stuff. So I look at it as, do you have an unstoppable move or 2, and does the offense run their entire team through you? Are you a playoff contender? I'm sorry, a championship contender. You can't be MVP, in my opinion, if you're not a playoff contender. That's why I would have left Luka Doncic off my first-team All-NBA, even though he's deserving because of the stats. And which is a new collective bargaining agreement criteria as of next year. You have to play 62 games, I believe, maybe 60.
65, I believe.
65. Okay, so 65 of 82 you have to play to even be eligible for All-NBA or the MVP voting. So that would be my criteria. You know, Jokic definitely fit that criteria. I think that he and Embiid both had a case for it. The other guy who I think that probably was as deserving as both of them, if not more, is Giannis. Like, Giannis, if you look at it, we got voter fatigue after Giannis won 2 straight, and after 2 straight years bowed out early in the playoffs. What did he do that 3rd year when he didn't win it, when he had just as good a stats, if not better than the other years? He lost. And guess what? He won the NBA Finals championship. So my thing with Giannis is, like, we get such voter fatigue because we take him for granted. we just, look at him every night, and he is a much better defender than both Embiid and Jokic combined. So if you're looking at most valuable player, I think Giannis is always going to be in that conversation. And what this award is kind of turned into, and sometimes it doesn't, but it's most outstanding player, right? I think there's a distinct difference. I think most valuable player is the team that helps their team win night in, night out. Like if you look at the James Harden MVP, like my man don't play any defense. Like for him to be MVP, yeah, he was dominant that year. He had one dominant move. When you have an elite move, we all know James Harden's going left. And you know what? He still does it at will, and he won an MVP driving left. Never drove right. Look at the stats. He never drove right. And so it's like, if you have this unstoppable move, people got enamored with that with James Harden. It's like, whoa, geez, he's driving left every time. Like, so let's just give it to him. But it's like, my man don't play any D. You know who's one of the best, probably 5 defenders of all time in the NBA? Giannis Antetokounmpo, however you say his last name. I think I just did a pretty good job there.
I think he did a great job. Applause for me.
Giannis is maybe the best, if not top 5 best defenders of all time in the NBA. If you look at their impact for switchability, not only just blocks and rebound stats, which can be overrated, and steals, but he can guard every player on the floor, and they will not score on him. And you know what? When the best player, he gets switched off of him, he's coming from the weak side. So it's amazing what he can do and the things that he can do and how everybody will overlook him now, because I think we got a little bit of voter fatigue. And I know I threw a lot at you, and I can throw this at you now. You know who else had voter fatigue? Kobe, Bean, Bryant. He won 1, Bellino. You know who's won 2? Steve Nash over him. You got guys like Jokic who won 2. Like, it is a travesty. It's a sham and a mockery. It's a Travis sham mockery, no making up words, that he's only won 1.
It is. Kobe Bryant's a very interesting case, and I'm glad that you brought up Giannis, because before the playoffs, at the end of the regular season, I would have picked Giannis. That was my selection for the most valuable player. I know that their team kind of held fast a little bit when he was in and out of the lineup with different injuries. I don't think, I think when we think about most valuable, what would that team be without that player? Okay, so we have Joel Embiid in game 1 is absent. James Harden goes crazy, scores 45, little patented double step back travel move that he's got, just doing his thing. They don't call it anyways. But Joel Embiid is not there. They can still win the game. Jokic, I'm glad that these guys played more than 65 games. I know that's going to be the threshold, and that's great and all, because I think that we need them to play more. We need them to care more about their actual performances and about wins and losses, and less about in-season little tournaments and Adam Silver's obsession with what European soccer has that will never be a part of American sport here, because there aren't enough good leagues on this side of the planet. That's neither here nor there. It just felt good to vent that out. I think that voter fatigue plays a role, and there's also this sort of like, whose turn is it kind of thing that I don't know really how to quantify. It always feels like, okay, Giannis won his 2. He'll probably never win another one. Jokic won his 2. He'll probably never win another one. And then who's going to be next after Joel Embiid? Like, whose turn is it?
Right.
I kind of feel like, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry won a couple. Kevin Durant's only won 1, but I can imagine that. LeBron James has 4 of them. He went back-to-back twice. Derrick Rose broke that up in 2011. We had a phenomenal campaign, so I'm not going to complain too much about that. We've seen repeat winners, but then we've also
might have been voter fatigue for LeBron, though.
Yeah, absolutely, I think it is. I don't know how you don't vote for the guy that takes his team to however many, what is it, 8 straight finals? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
In 3 different franchises, it's nuts.
Yeah, no doubt. And when you look at it, Kobe with 1, I do think is a huge travesty, because I think he would finish top 5. And if you look at his all NBAs, he is up there, with all the greats of all time, right? So that's definitely something that I tend to look at. And when you look at the NBA in general, I do agree with you, man. Like, you're asking, okay, who's going to be next? Jokic won his 2, Curry won his 2, Embiid's won his 2, and Giannis is 1 is 2. So, or Embiid's 1 is 1. I'm sorry. But now you look at, okay, who's next? The next logical choice is Luka, right? You're talking about, if you talk about statistically a generational talent, he's still, I think, younger than 25, and he's already accomplished a ton. But when you look at it, I agree with you. He did not get his team to the playoffs this year. And the East is stronger than the West, which has not been the case for most of our lives, right? So you're looking here, and we call this a curious case of Luncic. Like, what do we think of Luka now? Because if you're starting a franchise today and you could pick one player, like, Luka's got to be in that conversation. He's in that mix, right?
You know, that's such an interesting point you bring up about Luka, because they were doing just fine until Kyrie Irving got there, and then they went to hell in a handbasket. Which the Boston Celtics did the same thing when Kyrie arrived, and we've seen that hurricane, tidal wave, whatever you want to call it, of random thought and everything else that's going on in that big brain of his, just destroy some teams. And for me, you mentioned something earlier that I think two things. One, the usage rate, right? So that I think that's really interesting, because I never really thought about that with an MVP. But if you're going to be the most valuable player, you're going to have a crazy usage percentage. Now, the usage percentage, for those at home that are wondering, like, oh, I heard that term, I don't really know what it means, is an estimate of the percentage of teams' plays used by a player while they were on the floor. So basically, how often does your guy have the ball in the hands? How often is he the go-to guy? The usage rate for Joel Embiid was 37%. So when he's on the floor, he's getting that rock a whole lot. Whatever just fell down back there, I hope Winston's okay. Nikola Jokic
I kicked his little walker.
Your poor toe. Your poor toe. And then for Jokic, it's about 10 points lower at 27.2%. So usage rate, I think, is very interesting. And then the other factor about Luka, you got to at least get into the playoffs. Like, you can't be the MVP of the league and not be the lead dog, the bus driver, if you will, for your franchise.
Yeah. Because at that point, the argument, and I think I like the argument for most valuable, not most outstanding. And I think we choose most outstanding a lot of the times. But the argument for most valuable, if you don't lead your team to the playoffs, or even if you lead your team to an 8 seed or 7 seed or 6 seed, like, how valuable were you? Like, the Pistons didn't make the playoffs either, and they didn't have Luka Doncic. So, like, at the end of the day, you weren't that valuable. Neither of you had a chance to play for a championship when the calendar turned to April. So it's like, yeah, you, in my opinion, you're not that valuable. Now, are you the most outstanding? Like, absolutely. Like, you're taking Luka, with the top 5 draft pick. If you were to redraft the entire NBA right now, you're taking him top 5 out of 5 times, in my opinion. So at least I am. So, but you know what? That's why we love the NBA. That's why we love the MVP. That's why I love first team All NBA. And if you go back and you look at history, first team All NBA can tell you a lot about a player, because that's where Kobe Bryant, a guy like him who's only won 1 MVP, like, in our lifetime, we'll never forget the impact of Kobe. But if you look at it from years from now, like, oh, he only won 1 MVP, Steve Nash won 2. Like, who would you rather have for a career, Bellino? And I can answer that for myself. I'd rather have Kobe. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but if you look at his All NBAs, you have a certain argument that now backs it up. Like Chris Paul. Chris Paul is arguably the best point guard of all time. And you can come at me with that, and I can have stats to defend that. He has 0 MVPs, right? Where Magic Johnson, I don't know if Isaiah Thomas has any, but, you look at some of these point guards that actually have MVPs to his name, John Stockton maybe, like, but he has the stats, the advanced statistics.
At least those guys got to the finals, though. I mean, CP3, I just talked about him yesterday. I mean, good God, is there another career like Tony Romo maybe, but like CP3 is so highly touted and highly thought of and can't get his squad to the playoffs. Isaiah Thomas was a finals MVP, 2-time champion. The only backcourt to have both the starting running mates there win the finals MVPs, him and Joe D. Come on now. You throw those CP3. He's a fine point guard. I want my point guards to play like Chris Paul. I don't want the shoot first point guard. I want somebody who can facilitate an offense. I don't know if I want Chris Paul, though, because that dude might be cursed.
You know what? He might be cursed, but you know what? It also takes a lot of luck to make it to the NBA Finals, to win an NBA Finals. It takes a lot of luck to make the NCAA tournament. Takes a lot of luck to win 3 games in March to get there. Like, there is a lot of factors involved with it. And if you look at Chris Paul, like who do you think Chris Paul's best teams were? Because I have my own thought, but who do you think it was?
Best teams for Chris Paul. Well,
like his biggest chances to win an NBA Finals.
Oh man, it definitely wasn't his tenure with the Hornets. Lob City, but they were Jamal Crawford, the old Jake Crossover Michigan guy, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, Blake
Griffin, when Blake Griffin was playing at an MVP level. Yeah, like in my opinion, that's his best chance to make the finals. That was his prime. You know, he had a lot of all NBA talent around him. You know who they lost to? The freaking Golden State Warriors. They lost to Golden State, the beginning of a dynasty with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. Like, they're losing to teams like that, and that's why they're not winning the NBA Finals. So when you look at the course of Chris Paul's career, like, it's the same argument with Barkley and Jordan. You know, there's that funny commercial on that we all watched last night too. Like, hey, future Charles versus now Charles. All right, tell me how many championships I won. Oh, nope, never mind. I want to be surprised. And old Charles goes, yep, you're going to be surprised, right? Because you know who he had to go through? Flipping Michael Jordan to win one. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing. So when you look at these things with Chris Paul in his career, I think I agree. You have to have a conversation about how he's never won a finals or led a team there. But you also have the conversation of who they're losing to and the teams that were around there. And I think that has a big factor in that conversation as well.
A very big factor. And that's why, nobody won on Michael's watch, right? When Michael was out there, nobody could win in NBA Finals. And I know that, we're running out of time here, but one of the things I talked about yesterday was that, I knew the media was going to do this, and they did it all day yesterday. The final hump for LeBron James. He's got to get past Steph Curry. Just like, come on, folks. Like, it's going to be a great series. We know that Steph Curry has the edge. We know that Steph Curry has had some better teams. I don't even think we can compare the two because they don't play nearly the same position. One guy's 6'10", one guy's 6'3". It's just not the same. So I'm hoping that maybe when the dust settles, I don't know. It gives ESPN a week of programming though, and so they're gonna ride that thing till the wheels fall off. He is the coach, Kyle Barlow. Find him on Twitter at Kyle Barlow4. Send your kids recruiting tapes there. Coach Barlow, as always, my friend, thank you so much for your time this morning. Sorry I missed you yesterday, and look forward to seeing you at the 24 Club Invitational.
Yes, sir. See.
NBA action heating up with the playoffs. It continues on with the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Get in on all the excitement every game with the touch of a button. New customers can make a $5 pregame moneyline bet, score $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. Plus, everyone can score a no-sweat same-game parlay, baby, every day during the NBA playoffs. Open up the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place the same-game parlay on any NBA game. If it doesn't hit, you get a bonus bet back up to $10. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Sign up using the promo code HUGE, promo code HUGE only at DraftKings. Now, if you or somebody knows has a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline, 800-270-7117. 21 plus, Michigan only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Opt-in is required. One bonus bet issued based on the amount of the initial losing NBA bet. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions to apply. Shoot. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. I'll be better with that next hour. I knew the disclaimer was going to get me. I'm up against the shot clock right now. Boo me off the stage. Cut me for the team coach. Hour 3 is next. X's and Bros.
In the den. Hey, sports fans, here's a hanging curveball that you can knock out of the ballpark. This is Matt Shepard, the voice of Detroit baseball, inviting you to step up to the plate at Eagle Casino and Sports, the mobile sports book where you can bet on all your favorites all year round, including, of course, our national pastime. So download the app and start winning today. Eagle Casino and Sports, made in Michigan, made for Michigan. Must be 21 years or older and in Michigan to play.
Tonight, the Tigers play Game 2 of their 3-game series with the Mets at Comerica Park. Max Scherzer returns from a 10-game suspension when he was ejected, fined, and suspended for using a sticky substance in his last start against the Dodgers. The former Tiger returns to Detroit, one of his 4 stops, where he pitched for 5 years, won 70% of his games, won the first of his 3 Cy Young Awards, and was named to 2 All-Star teams, and led the league twice in victories. You know, it remains hard to believe the Tigers never won a World Series with him and Verlander and Pfister, Sanchez, and Porcello. But Scherzer did give us some incredible memories, didn't he? And I'm sure Tigers fans will acknowledge him for it, especially tonight.
At Mercantile Bank, we believe in empowering the communities we serve, and that financially strong individuals and families are vital for building strong communities. That's why we're committed to providing budgeting tools and interactive resources designed to help you take charge of your finances. Our friendly staff is always here to help answer questions and provide solutions to help you reach your goals. Call, stop in, or visit us online at mercbank.com to learn more. And let's help you make today count. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
For a lot of us, music and mental health are intertwined. That's why the Collaborative Lab created In Tune, a free live stream event, and you're invited. May 18th is Mental Health Action Day, so take action for your own mental health by joining us from 7 to 9 p.m. Musical performances and conversations with the Verve Pipe, Br0's, Carlos Sese, Cole Hansen, and more. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org to learn how you can join the party for free.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Gets bending in the corner.
To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win. The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker. Kenny Walker. Touchdown. Smarty.
Goff's got it. Back. Looks. Throws. Ends up. Yes. Caught. Touchdown to Detroit Lions. They did it. Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end.
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here.
A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Welcome back on this Wednesday. It's the 3rd day of May 2023. We welcome you here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Danny Cahalan, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio and in the Tar Heel State. Good morning to my friend, Mr. Bump, down there, recently married. So get this. So we went out to dinner right around Christmas time, right? I think it was the eve of Christmas Eve. It was like a Friday. This is right when I got sick with the plague and then had to miss the Fiesta Bowl. So worked all day. Me, Mr. Bump, his girlfriend at the time. We go out and get a little bite to eat. And it was a great time. He doesn't say boo to me about anything. The very next day, he's downtown at the ice rink, Campus Martius, right? He's downtown, skating around. And he decides to drop to one knee. Didn't say anything. I didn't hear anything about it. The guy drops to one knee and proposes. Then all of a sudden, it's like, hey, here's some pictures. Hey, guys, I popped the question. That was it. Sent it to the group chat and then disappeared again. Can you believe that? Don't you think that somebody that you've known for, I don't know, 25 years, don't you think that person would have said at dinner the night before, hey, by the way, like pull you to the side, like, hey, by the way, I'm going to propose tomorrow? Don't you think? Or am I just completely off base here?
Yeah. I mean, some people, they just don't want any of the vibes to change to give off any signals.
It gets better. He's like, hey, can come down to, come down to Carolina. He's like, when are you going down to Florida? I'm going to be down there. Like, let's get together. And I said, man, I really don't know. I have no idea when I'm going to be able to escape and get out. I'll keep you posted or whatever. And then, he goes down to Florida, spends some time with his family, and they shoot down to Key West because another guy that I went to grade school with runs a hotel in Key West. So he's like, oh, we're going to go see Phil. We're going to go down there. I'm like, oh, great. Oh, it's wonderful. Dude went and got married, didn't tell anybody. Just boom. Right there. Next thing you know, he's like, hey, guys, I got married today. Here's some pictures. Just on the beach in linens. In the linens. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. I mean, I wasn't shocked that he married her. I mean, that's a quality. That right there. There is no Jordan Love. We don't know what we're going to do. There's none of that. There's none of this. Is Patrick Mahomes. Yes, right away. The first year, we know, get some playing time. Boom, starter, boom, long-term deal. That's what we're looking at. So he's listening right now. We're arguing. He was listening to the Coach Barlow interview. We're talking about the point guard, Chris Paul. I said, look, where does Chris Paul fall along the all-time greats? And these lists are all arbitrary, right? Because everybody plays in a different era. So outside of the Michael Jordan's the greatest player of all time. Oh, I think LeBron. Well, what about Kobe? Right? You get into specific positions. Oscar Robertson was a point guard. Big O average a triple-double. Where do you put – would you rather have Damian Lillard or Chris Paul? Would you rather have Steph Curry or Chris Paul? What about Steve Nash? What about the glove? Gary Payton. So there's a lot going on here. And now all of a sudden he's gone silent. So maybe he was listening online or on the iHeartRadio app, and now I talked about his personal life. Now he's embarrassed. That could be. GB Ritz is on hold. GB calling from the Ritz-Carlton, high above Grand Traverse Bay. There's not a Ritz-Carlton Grand Traverse. GB, good morning to you, my friend. How are you?
Good morning, AB. What's going on with you, sir?
I was okay, and then I saw something that kind of irked me a little bit, and it was about Steve Yzerman. It was put out by one of the papers. It was about Steve Yzerman and punting on the playoffs and misreading because of what happened with Boston in the Florida series. And I think that I know that the tournament is the tournament. Like, once you get in, anything can happen. See Boston and Florida. Boston blowing a 3-1 lead. I just I don't think that he made the wrong decision there. I think it's sad and it's unfortunate, but that team wasn't good enough to win a playoff series against Boston.
What team? Well, who wasn't good enough to win against Boston?
The Detroit Red Wings.
I don't follow.
It was all about Yzerman punting on the playoffs right after that Ottawa stretch, and why it was a miscalculation by Steve Yzerman. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. He's got the draft coming up, but I did hear that, at least I thought I heard from somewhere, that Boston's having a President Trophy parade today or tomorrow. It's tomorrow in Boston. Rain or shine, they're having a President's Trophy. Bergeron will be holding it up, and then Br0's will be standing right next to him, because those guys aren't going to be there next year, along with Krejci and all those guys. So Boston is going to be a shell of what they were this year, I think.
Yeah, that's tough. They got a lot of contracts coming up, and it is for the Boston sports fans. I mean, they didn't take it well. I heard some snippets from WEEI in Boston the other day, and they were fire everybody. I'm like, dude, you guys just had the greatest, like the most historical season in NHL history. You got knocked out in the playoffs, and I understand the disappointment and everything, but
we went through it.
How do you go through 82 games and then just want to fire everybody after? Like, what are you smoking over there?
Well, it's Boston. There's tea leaves and everything else over there. So what are you going to do? One comment about the draft. I know this is 3 days after the fact or after the weekend, but I thought the Lions did well. They are a better team after this draft than they were going into the draft, and that's all you can hope for. I mean, that's all you want from your management staff, is to improve the team overall, and I think they did it with Tech. I don't know what people are coming up, all the snafu in the first round. Well, what's the snafu? Taking the running back at 12? I think that was a wise choice. Hopefully he's a healthier, long-term healthier player than Swift was, because Swift, that was the only downfall with Swift. He couldn't stay on the field. So how can you?
I don't know if that was the only downfall though, GB, because there were moments where it's like, dude, you got to put your head down and go get that extra yard. And I don't think that he had that in him. I really don't.
You're
I
right.
think that's what really aggravated Deuce Staley, because he's like, look, you got all the talent in the world, but I don't know if you could tote the rocket like that. Like how NFL running backs are just. They're just wired psychologically so different than the normal human. When you're carrying the pigskin for a living, you're a psychopath. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, you're crazy.
Yeah, you're right. Because I can recall plays that he had a chance to cut forward downfield for another 2 or 3 yards.
Oh, he'll duck out of bounds.
And he'd always take the easy out. He would go towards the sideline. So I agree with that 100%. So it's a good call by you. And so I just wanted to touch base today. We started golf season in this fine, balmy 50-degree weather by 3 o'clock. So it's just going to be another fun day on the golf course this evening. I hope anyway.
GB, here's our thought for the week for all of you golfers out there. If you're going to try to get out there and the weather's a little suspect, we need to fall in love with our short game. That's what we need to do. We need to fall in love with it.
Absolutely.
We need to spend more time with wedges in our hands at the driving range. We need to spend more time on the practice green putting 3-footers than we do taking out drives and trying to act like we're in a long drive competition. So let's swing nice and easy. Let's poke it in the middle of the fairway. Let's be wedge wizards, right? Let's have a lot of confidence when you pull that wedge out of your bag, and let's knock down some putts, okay?
Absolutely. That's the game plan. Thank you for that, and I'll keep that in mind, Anthony. That's you should be thinking about that all the time, really. Short game saves you good handful of strokes any round that you play.
Yeah, it's where all the scoring is done. You can hit the ball a mile, but if you can't get up and down, it doesn't matter. You have fun hitting a mile. I can hit a mile, but it goes in the trees sometimes. That's GB Rich. We got to step aside. We'll be back after this here on X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Imagine this, a day filled with indulgence, bursting with excitement, and packed with extraordinary moments that build memories to last a lifetime. A day that is unmistakably yours, at the place that is undeniably spectacular. Whether you're winning big, dining lavishly, or relaxing oh so comfortably, it's your getaway reimagined at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Huge here for all the Mr. Car Wash locations across Michigan. You're going to want to look into that unlimited monthly pass that I use. Superfly Hayes, my producer, uses it. I can get my SUV washed as often as I like for one low price. You can sign up today. Just go to MrCarWash.com or stop by your local Mr. Car Wash location here in Michigan for the one close to you. And to get that unlimited pass, go to MrCarWash.com.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
From Traverse City to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City, you're listening to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Great call from GB Rich there. To end the first segment, got to have some positive thoughts when you're getting ready to take on the golf course. And golf season's here. Matt Golden and his experienced team at Tullymore Golf Resort in Canadian Lakes are ready to welcome you to one of the best golfing experiences in the great state of Michigan. It is majestic out there. Just don't play from the tips. A long ways away. Tullymore Golf Resort, an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant. Smack dab in the middle of the state, easy to get to no matter where you're at. Tullymore not only features top-of-line golf, but also top-of-line accommodations and the perfect space for your wedding event, reception, or group outing. You're going to love the clubhouse. You're going to love the carts. You're going to love the food. TullymoreGolf.com. TullymoreGolf.com or call 1-800-972-4837, 1-800-972-4837. Hurry up right now. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. Fans can complain all they want, according to one texter. If they went Branch at 12, running back 18, Campbell at 34, people would have loved it. Who knows? They probably would have argued with Gonzalez. That's what they, Christian Gonzalez. Why would you take it? So some returning Lions players have once again changed their jersey numbers. Plus, Cam Sutton already changed from 6 to 1. Craig Reynolds 46 to 13, etc. Looks like all but one of the 0 to 19 numbers are taken. It's just a matter of time until there are no eligible quarterback jersey numbers left. Do quarterbacks still have quote-unquote eligible numbers? Or did they get rid of that altogether?
No, quarterbacks can only be 1 through 19.
1 through 19. Well, you got to save some. Look, the numbers thing, it's don't get me started. I think when they changed that rule, that was stupid. I liked the rhyme and reason behind why we had certain numbers for certain positions. I wish they'd bring it back. That's all I'm going to say. I don't need to see number 2 playing defensive end. All right, I got to get to my good buddy here. This was about 2 months ago, and news came out that Shams Charania of The Athletic had said, via a report and a source, that Dillon Brooks was informed by the Memphis Grizzlies that he would not return under any circumstance. Really? Not going to return under any circumstance. That's interesting. Here's what our friend Draymond had to say about Dillon Brooks 2 months ago.
This idiot said, I don't know what Draymond does out there. He said, I don't like Draymond at all. You don't know me. I just don't like Golden State. I quite frankly wouldn't like a team that beats me all the time either. I don't like anything to do with them. Quite frankly, you were a little kid in high school watching us win championships. Should be happy that you even witnessed that. Or maybe college, but you get the point. You're a fan. Draymond talks a lot. You talk a lot now, so if you have 4 rings, sure, you talk a lot more. For All-Stars, you probably talk a bit more. Defensive Player of the Year, you for damn sure would talk more. 2 Olympic gold medals, you definitely would be talking, because that would mean you beat Team USA, and we all know how that goes. So gets away with a lot, too. What exactly do I get away with? I have 15 texts, 1 less than your dumb ass. Okay, great. His game is cool. If you ever wondered why the Memphis Grizzlies is not ready to compete for a championship, look no further than this idiot right here. They're actually depending on this guy to help them win a championship. And he says his game is cool. Quite frankly, that just shows how little you know about basketball. And yet, you running around talking about a dynasty? The dynasty starts after you, not with you.
Wow. Dillon Brooks informed that he would not be brought back under any circumstance. The dynasty starts after you, not with you. Damn. And then they went ahead and said, you hit him with the Magic Johnson. You ain't going to be here. And then that was that. Draymond was right. Draymond was right. Now, in last night's game, 117 to 112, I get told all the time, and look, fair and honest, right? Somebody's got to stop Anthony Davis. Somebody's got to at least, somebody, please. Kevon Looney had 10 points, 23 rebounds, 5 assists. Draymond had 6, 4, and 7. Like they're gonna need more out of you. They're going to need more out of you. There's just no way you can do that. And I saw that ESPN had a reaction like, oh, look at Steph Curry's reaction after Jordan Poole missed the shot. It's an open shot that Jordan Poole can make. Like, it's Steph's getting double teamed. He's got to get rid of the basketball. Steph makes the right play, the ball doesn't drop. If the ball goes in, then it's to be like, oh, Jordan Poole, oh. Jordan Poole was 7 of 15 from the field, 6 of 11 from 3 last night. Guy finished with 21 points, 6 assists, and a steal. And he was +7 while on the floor. Like, not bad numbers from Jordan Poole. They just got to find some way. I don't know what they're going to do to try to combat Anthony Davis. I think the one thing that I was surprised with the Lakers winning this game by 5 is the absolute track meet that this game turned into early on from the jump. I mean, they were going back and forth, back and forth. The Golden State Warriors were 21 of 53 from 3. That's nearly 40%. Not bad. The Lakers were 6 of 25, which means we saw a total of 78 three-point attempts in the basketball game. Exactly half of the shots. Golden State had 106 attempts from the floor. They were only 5 of 6 from the free throw line, whereas the LA Lakers, 25 of 29 from the free throw line. The Lakers are going to win this series by slowing down the pace. That's why they came out of the gates like that. I'm like, that's not what. Calm down. Get the ball, walk it up the floor, muck it up a little bit, right? Slow and steady. That's how you want to beat them. You want to bet. You don't want to get in a foot race with Golden State because they got more guys that can outscore you. I mean, you're starting Vanderbilt for God's sakes. You know, like it just is what it is. I thought D'Angelo Russell had a nice game. Austin Reeves played pretty well. LeBron, usual game for him, 22, 11, and 4. But it was all about Anthony Davis. We talked about this yesterday. Going into the game, it wasn't going to be about necessarily LeBron because we can pencil in LeBron is going to go minimum 25 and 5 every game. Like that's just what he's going to do unless he doesn't play. That's what he's going to have 20 points. He's going to have at least 5 rebounds. He's going to have at least 5 assists. It's going to happen. He finished with 22, 11, and 4. The question is Anthony Davis. And there's got to be a perfect game from the free throw line for him, which was great. And he said after the game, he's not worried about the outside noise. He's worried about what his teammates and his coaches think, their opinions, and the voices that they have to him. That's what matters. Everything else is irrelevant. If he's healthy and he's playing like this, they're going to be pretty tough. They're going to be pretty tough. So what will the Warriors do in game 2? You know, does this have to be, you know, are we going to have to see, you know, Draymond and Looney kind of, you know, split the reps there to kind of, you know, give him some different looks, alternate possessions almost? Because if you do that, well, and you're guarding Anthony Davis like that, who's Looney going to guard afterwards? Vanderbilt? Is he going to, you know?
So that's
can't guard LeBron.
The issue with Golden State, they feel like this year's their defense has been
atrocious.
Awful. And back to Dylan Brooks for a second. The one thing that annoyed me throughout after that Shams quote came out was people like Kendrick Perkins and different media people was like, why is Memphis throwing Dylan Brooks under the bus? Like, this is the culture they created and let him do this. It's unfair to say under any circumstances. It's not unfair. Dylan Brooks decided to open his big mouth and got absolutely annihilated in that series.
And I think that although I kind of understand what Kendrick Perkins is saying, like if you're going to talk that, you better be that guy.
You can't be the worst player in the playoffs after opening your mouth.
No, and you don't do enough of the other things that don't appear in the box score. Like you don't do enough of that to let your poor performance statistically slide. You know, that's where, you know, Draymond can have a poor night in the box score, but he can still be effective as hell because of how Golden State, how he plays with their offense and you know, what a piece that he is for that team. We'll step aside. We'll be back. By the way, college football actually did something smart. I swear to God, they listened to the show. We'll talk about it next year. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle. Spin the money wheel and win up to $100,000 cash. Every Saturday in April from 5 to 11 p.m., one winner each hour will spin for the win and take home up to $100,000. Whirl in for $100,000 money wheel. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
If you or your family is touched by autism, learn more about Freddy's Foundation at #PopTheTap at FreddyThePizzaman.com. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com. Or email freddythepizzaman@gmail.com.
Share your thoughts all morning long on the Meyer Guest Line. Call 248-951-2176. That's 248-951-2176. Now, back to Danny, Ryan, and AB.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Danny Gahler, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio as well. Pleasure to be with you here this morning. And, folks, a reminder, if you haven't done so already, you need to, because the playoffs are here, baby. The NBA playoffs in big hoops action with the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the association. Get in on the excitement of every game with the touch of a button. New customers can make a $5 pregame moneyline bet. Score $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. Plus, everyone can score a no-sweat same-game parlay every day during the NBA playoffs. Open up the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place a same-game parlay on any NBA game. If it doesn't hit, you're going to get a bonus bet back up to $10. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code HUGE, promo code HUGE only at DraftKings. If you or somebody who has a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline, 800-270-7117, 21 plus, Michigan only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Opt-in is required. One bonus bet issued based on the amount of the initial losing NBA bet. Eligibility, wagering, deposit restrictions to apply. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Let's have a conversation here. A lot of times we come up with these crazy ideas, and from time to time, somebody will listen. Now, somebody in an office somewhere said, you know what? These guys might be onto something. And probably some of the greatest news I have ever heard came out yesterday. And it is so brilliant and makes so much sense. It is almost unbelievable based on the track record that this sport has. And that is the sport of college football. On Tuesday, the College Football Playoff Committee released a schedule of a 12-team format that will be used in 2024 and 2025, the expanded college football playoffs. It's going to feature a New Year's Day triple header. And they are going to be able to dodge one of the big question marks, and that is fighting for the TV windows. If you are college football, you're the College Football Playoff Committee, and you're anybody at all interested in college football from a business standpoint, you got to stay as far away from the NFL as physically possible. You know, there was Thursday night football in college. The NFL took that over. Can't touch Monday nights. Don't touch Sundays. You know, look at the ratings for the NFL on Christmas Day. Look at the ratings for the NFL. They are out of the top 50 most watched programs, like 49 out of 50 every year. And so the College Football Playoff Executive Director, Bill Hancock, said last week after the Board of Managers had met in the Lone Star State in Dallas, calendar had been decided upon. The final piece was placing the games and the sites on the dates. For the 2024 season, first-round games played at campus sites. There is a God. That's how you know. That's how you know. Either there's a God or they're tuned in and like, oh, these guys are brilliant. It's one or the other. This is something that was so common sense that it had to happen. You are now going to get playoff games on campus sites for the first time in college football history. And you know what? It's going to be absolutely electric. I don't care if you're on the John Wagner thought of, these teams don't deserve to get in. That's the big Wagner thing. You know, Johan's always like, these teams, are there really 12 teams that are going to be claimed? Just give us a playoff. That's what we want. That's what we want. You know, an expanded playoff to up the percentage of teams that can make it instead of having 4 teams out of 133 make the playoff is all we wanted. We wanted something. We also want a set criteria. We need to know, how do you get in? It can't be arbitrary and changing every year. It just doesn't make any sense. That's the next step, but hey, we'll take what we can get now. If you go back to week 15, we would have had in this playoff, I don't know, I mean, are we going to do double bye? Or pardon me, a bye? Like how are we going to do this? So are 1 through 4 going to get a bye? And wait the winners of 5 through 12? Because if so, Washington visits Alabama in the 5-12 matchup. Penn State goes to Tennessee. USC goes to Clemson. Kansas State goes to Utah. I mean, what's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? Absolutely nothing. I love campus sites. This is a brilliant idea. Now, for the 2024 season, the first-round game is going to be played at these campus sites, slated to start with one game Friday, December 20th. 3 more games will be played on campuses on Saturday, December 21st. The quarterfinals are scheduled to be at bowl sites on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. The Fiesta Bowl will be played the night of Tuesday, December 31st. The Peach, Rose, and Sugar Bowl will host the quarterfinal games played in that order on January 1st. Congratulations, Rose Bowl. You get your New Year's Day right in your window. You did it. You did it. The 2024 semifinals are set for Thursday night, January 9th at the Orange Bowl and January 10th at the Cotton Bowl. The championship game is scheduled for January 20th, which is a Monday, at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Wow, Thursday, Friday. Love it. God, just get away from the NFL. We cannot have any overlapping duplicate scheduling anywhere. You can't do it. College football, pro football fans want to watch the college game. College football fans want to watch the pro game. There definitely is crossover. It might lean one way or the other. It doesn't matter. Now, for the 2025 season, the opening rounds are set for Friday, December 19th and Saturday, December 20th, with the Cotton Bowl set to be the quarterfinal on New Year's Eve. The New Year's Day tripleheader will be Orange, Rose, and Sugar Bowl. The semifinals are going to be Thursday and Friday again, and then a championship on Monday down in Miami Gardens. This coming season will be the last in which the college football playoff uses a 4-team format. It's beautiful. It's so, when it comes to college athletics, we get so far away from common sense of what makes the most sense that when news like this comes out, it's almost like, well, duh, right? But you got to applaud them for making the correct call. Like, put your pride aside, know where you stand on the totem pole, and adjust accordingly. That's the bet. There's no sense in trying to fight the NFL. It is not a sport in this country that could shake a stick at it. Nothing.
And just remember, if there's a first-round game that is a blowout, for every Nuggets versus Timberwolves series, there is a Golden State Warriors Sacramento Kings right there to counter it.
Thank you. I'm not going to decide whether or not this is a good product or a good system, because if they do go with the 4-team, 1 through 4 getting the bye, which mathematically makes the most sense, then yeah, Alabama, Washington, that's what we want.
Yeah, and
Penn State, Tennessee.
You're like, oh well, Michigan State didn't score a point. Michigan's been blown out twice. We still get the Ohio State Georgia game.
We at least still got to see what was going to happen.
Yeah,
we got to see it. That's all I wanted.
Yep.
Just put the game out there. If for somehow, some way, the one at large, or highest ranked group of 5 team gets in there, and that would be Tulane. If Tulane gets in there and they're the 12 seed instead of Washington, wherever they go, I don't care. If it's Tulane, Alabama, and Tulane gets housed, so be it. We'll watch that bludgeoning on television. But if Tulane goes out there and pulls off a Boise State versus Oklahoma, it's the greatest thing. You got to give them an opportunity. You got to give them a chance. You win your conference, you're taking care of business. We're not all going to be in the Big Ten. We're not all going to be in the ACC, the Pac-12, the Big 12, the SEC. We're not always going to be able to play in all of these different conferences. So with where I'm at, I want a shot at it. Let's get to Danny and Brighton's on hold. Wants to talk about the college football playoff. Good morning, Danny. How are you, my friend?
Awesome as always. Anthony, how are you, my man?
Oh, life is good. No complaints here.
Life is good, especially with an expanded college football playoff. I'm a big proponent. I love this. It's about time. And you mentioned one of the things that I'm really happy about. It's the conference champions getting in. So you're in. You know, the top. So if I don't know if you're aware, but the way that it works is the top 6, or the conference champions are seeded 1 through 6, and those are the top 6 teams. And then you have the next 6 best teams.
Correct. Your conference, what is it? Your conference champions of your Power Fives, your highest ranked group of 5 team, and then your 6 at large.
Correct.
Yeah.
The only glitch I have with this is, so let's just say that, all right, I'll throw my boys out. Let's say that I'm Bama or I'm Georgia, and I'm seeded 2nd. I do not get a home game, but let's say the loser of the SEC actually does get a home game. That's the only flaw that I see. I thought that the first 2 rounds should have been hosted on campus, so that, let's say, Michigan, Ohio State gets to host a December game at home in their elements for, say, a team from the South or the West to travel to. To me, that would be fascinating. I would love that. And maybe that might happen, after 25, but that's the only issue that I have.
Yeah, and I get it, and I feel relatively the same way, but also understanding the amount of money that has been, like, we can't just kick the Fiesta Bowl and the Peach Bowl and the Sugar Bowl. All of these bowls, you have the Cotton Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Peach Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, right? You've got these 6 bowl games that are, the New Year's 6. There is a lot of money at stake there. And you can't just, as much as I'd like to punt on the idea, and hey, the Rose Bowl this year is going to be, the Rose Bowl committee is a bunch of old fogies out there that think that their one day out of the year is the God's gift to earth, right? And it's kind of a hassle, but I understand why we can only do the first round. I wish it was the same. In fact, I wish we didn't have a neutral site game until the championship. I wish that they would follow the NFL format. Higher ranked team gets the home game. More home games, more games on campus sites. Enough with these neutral sites, the Cowboy Kickoff Classic, the Chick-fil-A Kickoff, this classic, that classic. Get that stuff out of here. I want Alabama, Michigan. I don't want it Jerry's World. I want it 1 year at Michigan. I want it 1 year at Alabama.
Yeah, I agree. But let me say this about the bowls. I mean, it's not just the Rose Bowl. All those bowl games have all a bunch of old farts that are even older than me that run it. And I really think that you could still survive taking 4 games away, because you're only taking 4 away, 4 home games away, or 8, whatever it is, because you could rotate all those, floofy bowls among, the semifinals and the finals all the time. But or the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals, whatever it is. But I do think that that's the only flaw that I see. And I understand that, they're still going to have a Peach Bowl, because what do you have, 39 or 40 or 42 or 787 college football bowl games anyway? Still going to have them. And we have seen that even though 18 people show up to the Alamo Bowl or the Tennessee Bowl or whatever the hell it is, they still have it, they still televise it, and there's still money there because it's on TV. I don't think it matters who plays in it. I just don't. So, and ESPN is still going to get their money, or Fox, or whoever televises it. They still get their money from, TV for the Michigan game at Ann Arbor, or the game at, the Coliseum or at Notre Dame. The money doesn't go away. It just doesn't go into the pockets of these old fart heads, because can you tell? I love the bowl committee. So anyway,
first round games will not have title or presenting sponsors, and existing venue signage will remain in place. The college football playoff, however, will control the video boards.
Well, if we know the work of Bill Hancock, he is the guy that really devised the BCS, which was just 1 versus 2. And I can't believe that he still gets involved in this, because as good as it is, he'll find a way to say, well, let's do it this way, because I've always been a proponent of the fact that I think college football, they don't like the viewers very well because having games on New Year's Eve doesn't necessarily support the viewing public because we generally don't want to watch football at 7 or 8 o'clock at night on New Year's Eve, although I did watch that Georgia-Ohio State game, and it was awesome. But generally, there's other things going on New Year's Eve from what I understand.
Yeah, I agree with that. I really don't like any of the holiday stuff, to be honest with you. I know it's kind of an unpopular take, though, with the Lions, traditionally on Thanksgiving Day. But I relate back more to, like, people that, work at the venues that, they have to be there. It's a lot of people's second and third jobs that work, like, for instance, at Ford Field. I always go back to, like, ticket takers, concessions, parking attendants, security, like all the people that make the venue function, that are forced to be there on a holiday when, they've probably been working all week at their other job, and now they got to go and do that for how many hours. And I know they don't have to go, blah, 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 but a lot of people, it's a second job for supplemental income that they need. Right. Because, the cost of living in this country is outrageous right now as it is. So I always feel bad that those people, like, they don't get a day, right? There is no day off. They don't get a normal Thanksgiving. By the time they get to wherever they're going, the food's usually cold. You got to reheat it. Like, it just, everybody, most people have already eaten, and some people have already dispersed, and you just miss out on a lot of that time that you normally, if under normal circumstances, would be able to spend with your family. So I tend to lean toward leave our holidays alone. That would include Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving. Like, don't do anything. Easter, like, just leave it all alone.
Yeah, just let's have a holiday. The only lame, flimsy support I can give for the Lions Thanksgiving game is it is a 12:30 start. So, even the people that work there, they get home at like 7:30. At least they get home at a reasonable hour. The New Year's stuff, that's just bogus because those are night games. They're not getting home like forever, and they're getting their whole day tossed away.
Yeah, you're losing all of. If you work on New Year's Eve and you have to work one of these football games, like, you're
hosed.
Yeah, you've lost New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So that's why I tend to lean a little bit more that way. Danny and Bright, man, appreciate the phone call. I'm glad we're on the same page though.
Pleasure, my friend.
Expanded football playoff is good for everybody. We got some campus sites, at least for the first round. I think this will continue to evolve. I really do. I think that eventually we will see it expand to 16 games with, 1 through 4 having first-round matchups and not getting that bye. I think that does end up happening at some point. But for the time being, we just got to be thankful they didn't expand to like 6 or 8. Like, they really did it for real. And they're going to give the group of 5 an opportunity to have a seat at the table and allow those kids to really believe that, hey, starting in 2024, if we go out there and we make some noise, we rattle a cage early in the non-conference, and then we go out there, we win our conference championship, we got a chance at the playoff, and we got a chance at history. And everybody else gets to play for a national championship no matter what school you go to, except for those that play football. And it's the biggest money-making sport, and it's been the dumbest thing I've ever seen since its inception of the playoff. For Dan and Ryan, I'm Anthony. So long. See you tomorrow. Same time, same place, here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Got any plans for Mental Health Action Day? You do now. Join us online on Thursday, May 18th from 7 to 9 p.m. for In Tune, a free live stream event featuring performances and conversations with the Verve Pipe, Br0's, Carlos Sese, Cole Hansen, and more. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org to find out how you can log in and join the celebration for free. May 18th is Mental Health Action Day. Take action. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org and join the celebration. It's vacation time, so you have alerted your post office, dropped the dog off at the kennel, and set the timer for the lights in your house. But did you call the police? Many of Michigan's police departments will check on your house regularly while you are away. Contact your local police department to see if this program is available in your area. Just one more service that Michigan's police officers provide every single day.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The 1-2. Right side, there it is! Hey, sports fans, here's a hanging curveball that you can knock out of the ballpark. This is Matt Shepard, the voice of Detroit baseball, inviting you to step up to the plate at Eagle Casino and Sports, the mobile sports book where you can bet on all your favorites all year round, including, of course, our national pastime. So download the app and start winning today. Eagle Casino and Sports, made in Michigan, made for Michigan. Must be 21 years or older and in Michigan to play.
Have you ever played golf at Tullymore, St. Ives? Have you experienced a stay-and-play package in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, less than an hour north of Grand Rapids? Well, here's what you need to do if you want to take advantage of great deals right now. Go to tullymoregolf.com. That's tullymoregolf.com, and you'll see the link for packages, accommodations, dining, meetings, weddings, events, and so much more, and especially golf on the 18-hole layout at Tullymore and the 18 holes at St. Ives. And they can accommodate any group, whether it's 2 people getting together or 200 looking for a weekend or an overnight celebration. That includes a little business, golf, great food, and beverages. Just go to tullymoregolf.com. That's tullymoregolf.com. They're located